Roll call.
Meyer.
Here.
Boots.
Here.
Brolick.
Here.
Waters.
Okay, number 2, approval of agenda.
Motion, please. All second.
A motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Carried. Number 3, approval of the minutes, November 21st, 2019.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
You're fine.
Give that.
And number 4, business, open house for discussion and questions from the public regarding the future land use, sports complex, and Lisbon Nature Park. So we're going to community over.
And I'll take it from here. Most of you already know I'm Connie Meyer. I'm the city administrator for the city of Lisbon. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate that we have an opportunity for you guys to come and give us your input on what you'd like to see happen with the city of Lisbon. I'm going to introduce everybody up here. This is our planning and zoning board. We do have one opening on the board right now. If anybody's interested, see me afterwards or anytime this week. This group is going to be working hard the next 6 months to work on our future land use plan. And also we'll be updating our comprehensive plan, which expires in 2022. So they're going to have their hands full in the next 6 months to a year to try to get that going. Jason Waters, Al Meyer, Rick Boots, Luke Brolick, and like I said, we do have one opening. Tonight, the main reason for having you here is to let you know what's going on in the community, what our plans are for the future, and to ask for your assistance and your input on what we are going to, what direction we want to go into. Lisa with YTT is here tonight. Her company did the concept plan for the sports complex and for the nature park. The drawings are here. She's going to be here along with Drayton Camberling, who is our Park and Rec Director, to answer questions, take information from you, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you would like to see. There are some surveys on the table here that you can fill out and give back to us. And like I said, feel free, ask Lisa anything, ask Drayton anything, give them all the input that you can. We really want to know how you feel and what you would like. We also have Karen and Mary and Natalie here from ECOG. They're going to assist us with our future land use plan and our comprehensive plan. So they'll be here to help us with that, and they have some fun things for you guys to do. And at that time, I'm going to turn it over to Karen.
Sure. Thank you, Connie. I'm Karen Kurt. I am the relatively new Executive Director for ECOG and delighted to be here. And as Connie had mentioned, this is really an open house style format. So we have different stations set up and people can move between the stations. You don't have to go in any particular order. And we're really involved more in the planning aspect. And this is really kind of at the beginning stages, but I would say kind of developing a longer range plan for the community, which is really smart at this point in time. You're having a major transportation change. And that can sometimes bring change with it. And so now is the time to really be reflecting on what do you want the community to look like? Do you want growth? How much growth? What type of growth? And things like the land use map kind of help guide some of those decisions. So in addition to our wonderful YTT station here for the park feedback, most of you found that there are surveys on the tables. And so we'd like to ask you to complete a survey and then to drop those off. As you exit, there's a box just outside this door. Then over here, we do have the draft land use map, and Mary will be here. And we're looking for feedback on that map with respect to preferences for direction of growth, whether or not the types of land uses seem appropriate to you, and whether or not there's the appropriate amount of each type of land use. And I want to emphasize that this is a draft. It's very much a work in progress, but it's sort of a place to start the conversation. This will be a focal point, I think, for the Plan Commission moving forward for the next several months. Over here is what we call Lisbon 2030. And so we're going to be asking you to think out 10 years from now, what do you want Lisbon to be? What do you love about it today that you want to make sure that you preserve? And what would you potentially want to add or change when you're reflecting on quality of life for both yourselves and future residents? So with that, we really appreciate you being here. I think this community input is really, really important. And I'm sure I'm a part of the Plan Commission and elected officials and city staff. You know, they're probably anxious to hear what you have to say. So with that, I think we can probably just get up. You can find the place where you want to start. And if there are any other questions or if you need more surveys, just let one of the members of the team know. Thank you.
Are we just looking at what's in the city limits now? City limits, the black line?
The black dotted line is the city limits, correct.
And if you're unable to kind of walk up to this area, we do have some maps on clipboards and hard copy, and we can make sure you get those as well. And then there are cookies too, I can't forget
There are
that.
cookies
Yes.
and cupcakes and stuff back there.
The ever popular cookie.
Others, did you want to explain what each of those are? Don't know. I'm curious about that map. Are we annexing
that
all the
is-
way out to the highway, or?
That is the map of our current city limits, and the Planning and Zoning Board has been working on extending that. We have a current future land use plan, but it needs to be updated, especially since the bypass is in. So they have taken a look at what they would like to see in some of those areas. So as you can see, the green and blue has extended from the city limits out to where the bypass is. That's just a first draft of what this group has come up with. It's just the first step in the process. So that is what we would like you guys to, there's dots. So if you would prefer us to start looking at possible growing the city to the south, then grab a red dot and put it on that piece of paper. If you would prefer east or north, of course we can't go west, we're kind of blocked that way. Just take a dot off the sheet and put it on there. These guys are up here also to answer any questions on how they came up with that first draft. And I'm sure there's going to be 10, 15 drafts after that one. It just depends on, you know, what direction we want to go to. So that's what that is there. Lisa here has 3 different drawings. One of them is the total picture of the concept of what we would like to do with the sports complex and the nature park. In case you're not aware, the city did purchase several acres on the north side of Myers Meadow. The plan for that area is a sports complex, which would have soccer fields, t-ball diamonds, baseball diamonds, softball diamonds, mainly to be used for the park and rec programs. The high school teams would still continue to play over at the city park. We would have to have tournament teams playing at this complex also to bring in funds to keep the facility going. Keep hopefully by that time, our full-time park and rec director in his position, and to pay for utilities and all that kind of stuff. The nature park, we've acquired the land just this last year from Steve McAmel. Thank you very much, Steve. How much we appreciate that. The historic preservation is working extremely hard right now to get the barns into the National Register. Once that's done, we would be eligible for different types of grants to restore those barns back to the way they originally were, we hope. So that's in progress right now. They've actually had someone, we did receive a grant to have someone evaluate those barns, and we're still waiting at this time for that evaluation to come back. So once that's done, our plan would be to have farmers markets, community gardens, hopefully through Southeast Lynn, maybe rent the facility out for weddings or different types of events, put a trail around the park and connect that trail with the sports complex. Dog park, certain area of the park would stay a natural preserve where we could have butterfly gardens and that kind of stuff. So we have a lot of plans for that. Lisa and her husband Joe worked extremely hard on that concept, and we're very, very happy with it. But again, it's a concept and it can change with input that we get from you guys. So that's where we're at with that. Is there any other I guess we could just do question and answer at this time before everybody moves to their little stations, if anybody else has any more questions. But our main focus tonight is for you guys. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you guys want. We've come up with some of it, but we want to move forward with what the public wants, not just what a small group of people want. So, sure.
So what was the requirements or the drivers for the concept that you came up for the sports complex?
It was mainly the size of our park and rec program, how many kids participate in soccer, flag football, baseball, softball, how many fields we have to come up with at this time to supply the need that we have. So that's how we determine how many fields we would need to do that. And also, we kind of looked at the size of the fields to determine what we would need if we did run tournaments on the weekend to bring money into the system to keep the park going. When we knew the bypass was coming through, the first thing we did was form a committee, which is called Lisbon's Future. This committee's been meeting for the last 2 years to try to determine what it's going to take to bring people into Lisbon. Now that the bypass is there, they can just drive right by. There's, you know, a lot of times there's not a reason for them to stop. We wanted to find a reason for them to stop. And we kept coming back to sports. Lisbon is a sports community. The majority of the people that come into Lisbon come into the school system. They come in to play baseball, football, wrestling, which is what brings more people in. So we came up with the idea that a sports complex is something that's going to bring people to Lisbon. So that's where that concept came. That group is still meeting on a monthly basis. Right now we're working on an application for Lisbon to become one of the great places in Iowa. So if anybody's interested in being part of that committee, let me know. We meet the second Monday of every month at 5 o'clock here at the City Hall. Like I said, we're working on that application right now, hoping to apply for that designation in May. And if not this year, we'll try again next year. So, did that answer your question?
Yes, I got one more follow-on. Is that, what kind of timeline do you see for the sports complex?
That's a good question. Right now, we have all the ideas, we have the ambition, we have the drive, but we don't have the number one most important thing, the funding. Do I know where that's going to come from? I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea. There are going to be grants available, there's bonds that could be available. It's just, once we get the concept together, know what it's going to cost us, we can start working on that. The majority of the entire sports complex is in a reserve. We can't touch that land until September of 2020. A section of the nature park land is in that reserve also. So there's the barns in that area, we can start right away to do something. But the rest of the land we can't touch until after September of 2020. So we felt, since it's coming fast, we need to start now and start planning for that. There are grants available that we can apply for. Lisa and I will be working on one here in May that would help cover the cost of a trail in the nature park. So there's stuff out there and available, but I'm not positive at this time exactly what the funding is going to be.
You did already start to mow that area, which is a big change. I live right there, so.
We have mowed it once, yeah.
I think
Or twice, yes. We could do it once a year.
It's starting to look more like a lawn and less like, there were a lot of bees and butterflies, and I've noticed there's less birds than when the grass was tall and there were flowers and things growing. So anyway, it just seems strange to me that was making the butterfly park, but we got rid of that, especially if we're not ready to build for a while.
We could mow it once a year, and it was, the main reason for that is to get the regrowth.
Of grass.
So in August, I think it was the last year and the year before is when we mowed it, but it will only be done. But we are planning for all of that nature reserve and in the new nature park area. Because we'll be taking some of that away once we start building the sports complex.
It's pretty much already gone as it turns to monoculture. This one. It just makes me very sad.
Isn't that the farm program rules though that we're following and not, wasn't our idea wasn't my idea certainly to eliminate that. But we can plant a lot of stuff to attract butterflies.
I did apply for one grant already for pollinating plants. We did not get it, unfortunately. They had 1,700 applicants. We were not chosen this time, but we're going to keep trying and keep going from there. Any other questions? Sure.
On the land use map, are there I mean, if you're looking at 2030, is there any planning as far as this looks for more access from the bike paths to the town other than just the one exit? Or?
Not at this time. That would be DOT, since that is their land. We are working with them right now to try to get more identification at the access in Mount Vernon on Highway 1. I've talked with them several times, and the last conversation they pretty much told me that the construction year is over this year. They will talk to me again next construction year. So we're hoping to get more signage out there, especially on most people we found do take the Highway 1 exit to enter into Lisbon instead of the access road on the east side. So we are working with them on that, and CDG will be having a sign workshop on February 5th at Gwen's. It'll be from 5:30 to 7. We've asked the DOT, Lynn County, Lisbon, and Mount Vernon to be present so businesses can come to this workshop to find out what they need to do to get signs out on the bypass. So if there's any business owners here that are interested in that, mark that down February 5th at Gwen's at 5:30. They will be having a workshop regarding that.
How can we get information about that if we're not available to go to the workshop?
Give me a call or send me an email and I'll give you the contact people that you would need to get in touch with. Lisa, did you have anything you wanted to add? Or?
Yeah, when you guys come up, we'll just go through any questions you have with the park and
Okay. All right, so if everybody will just participate in the little activities and give us your input, and there are surveys here, and there's surveys on the back table there or here. If I'd appreciate it if you guys would fill those out, turn them in, and use everybody in this room to answer your questions or give you more information. John?
How many acres are we talking about here? An idea?
Totally, we've added about 35 acres to our park programs. One of the goals in our current comprehensive plan that ran 2002 to 2022 was to add 35 acres of parkland to the community of Lisbon. And with these purchases we've done in the last couple of years, we've exceeded our goals. So it's something to be really proud of for the city of Lisbon. Park and Rec Department has worked.
There's cookies in the park.